Hey there! Last time we got to explore a little bit about the world of Adam and Eve. This time, let's proceed down the biblical timeline. This is Day 2, regarding Abraham. Have you ever wondered if Father Abraham truly was the father of all nations in the world? Let's look back at the events of Genesis, shall we? God had created the heavens and the earth and made the man, Adam. Later, God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden, where he was to work it and take care of it. But as we can see, there also was the serpent, who tempted Eve with a certain fruit, and not an apple, but the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. After their disobedience, sin and death entered into the world, and Adam and Eve were then kicked out of the garden. As they lived out the rest of their finite lives, they had a family. Together, they first had 2 sons, Cain and Abel. But we know how that ended. This sin only grew worse through the generations. As more and more people increased, the more wickedness grew. God's people multiplied in the world, but so did sin, to the point where every heart was only evil all the time. God was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it pained him to see what had happened to his people. I'm sure you're familiar with what happened next. Yes, God decided to now send a flood, but he didn't send it right away. Seeing there was little hope to save his people, God chose someone he found righteous in his eyes, Noah, who then built the ark. Every pair of animals was invited to the ark, and Noah and his family were saved from the flood, from destruction. But as the world continued living, sin was still a really big problem. People forgot about God, and as a result, they disobeyed and sinned. Death reigned over the world, and even today, this is what we see. Many continue to choose the wide path of sin and evil, of death and destruction. People, as they become immersed in the things of the world, slowly forgot about their Creator, the standard of what is good. Hatred and violence plague the lives of many. But still, God did not give up. God had a plan of salvation that actually started with a certain man named Abraham. Abraham had a wife named Sarah. They were not your typical couple, however. Abraham and Sarah started their family a bit later than the average husband and wife. Still, God promised to Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. But how can this be? Abraham was well into his age of 100, and his wife was in her 90s. So when God told them that they would have many descendants, they laughed. For how could they even have a child in their old age? God, as we've come to know, is faithful to his promises, and Abraham knew this. Sure enough, Abraham and Sarah obeyed. After time passed, they finally had their promised son Isaac, whose name meant laughter. Time then proved God's faithfulness, and through Isaac, Abraham's offspring was reckoned. From Abraham came Isaac, from Isaac came Jacob, whose name changed and became Israel. And through Israel came his 12 sons. And these 12 sons later became the 12 tribes, one of which the Messiah descended from thousands of years after. They were then called the 12 tribes of Israel. The event of Genesis is actually regarding a specific group of people, God's chosen people of Israel. And as we continue, we'll discover the role of God's people in healing the world of sin. Until next time.
Hey, mortal friends! Thanks for visiting us at EZBible. Don't forget to click the like and the subscribe button. God bless.